Here's a House of Flowers quick tip. Pruning your plants and maintaining them for the summer months can be challenging at times, and I'm here to just give you a few tips on how to do that. For your rose bushes, typically what they'll do is they'll come out and bloom, and when you prune a rose bush back, you always want to cut it back to a point where the leaves are in 5s rather than 2s or 3s. So take that down a little further than what you might think by just taking the spent blossom off. Take it down a little further and it'll encourage new growth for you to the point where there's 5 leaves on a branch. Roses can be a little challenging that way, and depending on the variety will kind of determine how far down you have to actually go before you reach the 5 leaf mark. Planting a basil can be a challenge too. They grow like a weed and they really get going, but it's important to keep them trim and maintained as you're growing through the season. So you never want to let a basil plant flower like this. You always want to take that down, and that encourages a fuller plant and newer growth. If you're planting a plant like this right early in the season, don't be afraid to bury this down into the soil a little further to encourage stronger root production as well. Especially true with tomato plants. Geraniums, as beautiful as they are, once the flowers are spent, can be pretty unsightly. Geraniums, you want to just take your fingers and take the spent blooms off right where they begin, not at the very end. Take it right down to where that bloom originates on the stem, and you'll have really good color all season long. Kind of the same thing with petunias. Petunias are really beautiful when they're full and lush, but sometimes they can get a little on the leggy side. So when you're planting them originally and then maintaining them through the season, don't be afraid to take some of this length and right after the leaves come out, just nip that back. That'll encourage really nice full plants throughout the entire summer. It might be hard to do originally to take all that size off, but I think you're going to be much happier with the end result once that fills in nice. Coleus is another one. Coleus is a really beautiful, big, full plant, but sometimes it can get out of hand. So what we do with Coleus is take the tips out like this. Just take your pruners, cut that out, and you'll never even miss these tips, but it'll stay nice and full the rest of the season. Once you're all pruned back and manageable that way, I always recommend a water-soluble fertilizer about every week. 2 scoops of a water-soluble fertilizer into a watering can, and you'll just water your plants about every 5 to 7 days roughly with that mixture, and you'll have beautiful container gardens and potted flowering plants all season long.